You know, there's a certain strength in stillness. We live in a world that celebrates the loudest voices, the brightest lights, and the most immediate successes. But I want to tell you something today. There's power in building yourself quietly. There's a season in your life when you need to stop chasing applause and focus on the work that's happening in the secret places. It's in the quiet that growth truly happens. It's in the hidden moments when no one is watching, when no one is cheering you on, that you are laying the foundation for something monumental. You don't need to shout about what you're building. You don't need to announce every step. Just show up, keep working, keep growing, and trust that the world will recognize the masterpiece you've been crafting in silence. It's time to get comfortable with the quiet because, my friend, the loudest things often start in the silent. In life, we often expect immediate results, quick wins, and a sense of fulfillment as soon as we start something. We live in an age where instant gratification is the norm. If something doesn't happen quickly, we start to lose interest. We scroll through our social media feeds, watching people seemingly accelerate towards success, capturing the highlights of their journey, but we forget that behind every highlight reel, there's a process, a sometimes long, unseen, and often difficult process. We've all been there, haven't we? We begin a project, a goal, a dream full of excitement and energy. We set out with a vision of how things should unfold. We have a timeline in mind, milestones to hit, and a destination we're racing toward. But then something happens along the way. The process doesn't go as planned. The results are slower than expected. The obstacles more challenging than anticipated, and we start to wonder if we're on the right path at all. It's in these moments that the power of trusting the process becomes evident. Trusting the process doesn't mean ignoring the challenges or pretending that things are always going smoothly. It doesn't mean being passive or resigning yourself to a life of frustration. What it means is acknowledging that success is not always immediate, that the road to your goals is sometimes a winding one, and that real growth often takes time. When you embark on something significant, you begin by planting a seed. But a seed doesn't grow into a tree overnight. It doesn't burst forth from the ground with its full-formed branches and leaves the very first day. No, it's buried in the soil, hidden from view, and it needs time and care and the right environment to grow. Similarly, your dreams, your goals, and your potential are like that seed. You may not see immediate results, and that's okay. Trust that the work you are doing now, even when it feels invisible or unimportant, is contributing to something greater that will eventually emerge. Too often we look around us and measure our progress by comparing ourselves to others. We see people around us achieving what we want, and we start to feel discouraged. Why isn't my success coming as quickly as theirs? Why am I not further along in my journey? This comparison game can be toxic. It clouds our ability to trust the process because we focus too much on what's happening with everyone else and not enough on what's happening within ourselves. Each person's journey is unique. The timing is different for everyone. Some people's growth may appear faster, but that doesn't mean their process is any less valuable or important than yours. You may be working behind the scenes, planting seeds, laying foundations, making small but meaningful progress, and that is just as crucial as someone reaching a visible milestone. The quiet behind the scenes work is what allows you to sustain long-term success once it finally does emerge. In this age of rapid communication and connectivity, we are constantly exposed to the highlights of everyone else's life. We see their success stories, their shiny new accomplishments, and we forget that they too had to trust the process. What we don't see is the struggle, the late nights, the doubts, and the failures they experienced. We don't see the early days when they were working tirelessly, seemingly getting nowhere, but they, like you, had to trust the process. They had to keep moving forward even when things didn't make sense. They had to push through the doubts, the confusion, and the frustration of not seeing immediate results. Trusting the process also requires patience. It means being okay with taking things one step at a time, even when you don't know exactly how everything will turn out. It's about recognizing that every small action you take Every decision you make and every effort you put in is contributing to the bigger picture. And when you trust the process, you stop rushing. And you allow yourself to enjoy the journey, the learning, and the growth that happen along the way. Patience is often misunderstood. We live in a world that tells us to go faster, achieve more, and do it all now. But true growth takes time, and when you trust the process, you develop a deeper understanding of this. You start to see that each setback, each failure, and each lesson learned is an essential part of the process. Without them, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the eventual success when it arrives. The most significant breakthroughs often happen just when we're about to give up. The thing is, when you trust the process, you begin to recognize that setbacks aren't failures. They're simply steps toward your breakthrough. You start to reframe challenges as opportunities to learn, grow, and refine your skills. The things that once discouraged you become the very things that empower you. Trusting the process also means accepting that you can't control everything. There will be moments when life will throw unexpected challenges your way. There will be times when your path gets interrupted, when things go wrong, or when you feel like you're moving backward instead of forward. But trust that even in those moments, you are being prepared for something greater. Sometimes the process involves learning lessons in patience, resilience, and adaptability that you couldn't learn any other way. It's easy to fall into the trap of impatience, especially when you see others seemingly advancing faster than you. But the truth is, you don't know what they had to go through to get to where they are. You don't know the sacrifices they made or the difficulties they faced. They too had to trust the process. Think about the most successful people you admire. What's the one thing that sets them apart? They didn't give up when things got hard. They didn't abandon their vision when the results didn't come right away. They kept going, kept believing, and kept working even when there was no visible sign of progress. That's the power of trusting the process. It requires faith, perseverance, and an unwavering belief that what you're building is worth the wait. One of the most significant parts of trusting the process is recognizing that growth isn't linear. You won't always see a steady upward trajectory. There will be times when you feel like you've taken 2 steps forward, only to find yourself taking 1 step back. And that's okay. That's part of the process. Life is full of ups and downs, twists and turns, but each moment, each twist and each turn serves a purpose. They're teaching you something, strengthening you, and getting you ready for the success that's coming. Sometimes trusting the process means doing the hard work when no one is watching. It means continuing to put in the effort even when you don't see immediate results. It means staying committed to your goals when the world around you seems to be moving faster than you are. It requires faith that what you're doing today will have a lasting impact tomorrow. And when you trust that, you start to find peace in the waiting. You begin to realize that it's not about rushing to the finish line, but about embracing the journey. When you trust the process, you also learn to trust yourself. You build confidence in your ability to navigate the ups and downs, knowing that you have everything you need within you to keep going. You begin to trust that even on the days when you don't feel like it, you are still making progress. Progress is not always about big, noticeable steps. Sometimes it's the small, quiet steps that matter. Another key aspect of trusting the process is understanding that your timing is not always the same as the universe's timing. Just because you want something to happen now doesn't mean that it's meant to happen now. Trusting the process means surrendering to the timing of life and knowing that everything will unfold when it's meant to. Sometimes the delay is part of the plan. Sometimes you need more time to prepare, grow, and develop before you're ready for what's next. In the quiet moments, in the unseen work, you are building the resilience, the wisdom, and the strength that will carry you through when the spotlight finally shines on you. Trust that every moment, every effort, every setback, and every victory is shaping you into the person you need to become. And when the time is right, when the work has been done, you will see the fruit of your labor, not just in success, but in the person you have become along the way. Trust the process, Because even when it feels like nothing is happening, everything is happening. Even when you can't see the results, the seeds you planted are growing. Even when the world is moving faster than you, you are exactly where you need to be. In a world filled with constant noise, distractions, and demands for attention, it can be difficult to find peace and stillness. Everywhere we look, someone is talking, someone is sharing, someone is putting themselves out there. The constant barrage of information can make us feel as though we too must keep up with the noise. We might feel pressure to always be in motion, always visible, always active. But here's the truth: silence is not something to fear or avoid. Silence is your strength. When you think about strength, you may not immediately associate it with quietness. We often imagine strength as something loud and bold, something that's seen by everyone, something that commands attention. We think of strength as being outwardly visible and unmistakable, something that's so powerful it can't be ignored. But true strength, the kind that lasts and withstands the trials of life, is often born in the quiet moments. It is forged in solitude, in silence, when no one is watching and no one is applauding. There's a certain kind of power in being able to sit still, to be present in your own life without the need for constant validation or recognition. In a society that equates busyness with success, being able to retreat into silence can feel like an act of rebellion. But it's in those quiet spaces that we connect with the deeper parts of ourselves, the parts that are often drowned out by external noise. When you allow yourself to be still, you create the opportunity to hear your inner voice, to reflect on your journey, and to realign with your purpose. The world around us can often push us toward noise. Social media, the news cycle, even our friends and family can create a sense of urgency and chaos. We're bombarded with messages telling us that we need to be more, do more, and show more. In this environment, it's easy to get caught up in the rush to be seen and heard, but in the midst of all the clamor, silence provides us with the opportunity to tune out the distractions and focus inward. Silence isn't about shutting yourself off from the world or withdrawing completely. It's not about isolation or avoiding interaction. It's about choosing moments of stillness, carving out spaces where you can hear your own thoughts without the interference of outside noise. Silence is a tool that helps you reconnect with your true self, your core values, and your deeper desires. In silence, you can cultivate clarity. When we are constantly surrounded by noise, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. We might get caught up in the opinions of others, in comparisons, or in chasing trends that don't align with who we truly are. The opinions of the world can become so loud that we stop hearing our own intuition, our own instincts. But silence allows us to hear that quiet voice within us, the one that knows what we truly need, what we truly want, and where we're meant to go. There's also strength in the ability to work quietly without needing constant affirmation or praise. In a world that often rewards the loudest voices, the most visible actions, and the most dramatic displays of success, it can be tempting to seek validation from others. We may feel the need to constantly share our progress, to post updates, or to announce every small win. But the most powerful and lasting results often come from the work done in private, in the quiet spaces where no one is watching. When you're able to focus on your work without seeking external validation, you allow your creations to speak for themselves. You remove the pressure to impress others or conform to their expectations. Instead, you channel your energy into the work itself, trusting that in time it will speak for you. This quiet focus is where your true power lies. It is here in the stillness that you can make the greatest impact. One of the biggest challenges we face in today's world is learning how to be comfortable with silence. We often associate silence with discomfort, with emptiness, with a lack of progress. But silence isn't a sign of stagnation. It's a sign of depth. It's in the quiet moments that we experience growth that's not immediately visible. It's in the stillness that we build the foundation for the next phase of our life. The quiet moments are where we do the deep work of self-discovery, healing, and growth that will sustain us when the noise of the world gets too loud. When you embrace silence, you begin to realize that it's not about being inactive. Silence is a space where you do the inner work that supports outer success. It's about sitting with your thoughts, reflecting on your experiences, and making intentional decisions about where to go next. It's about taking the time to rest, recharge, and restore your energy so that you can show up fully when the time comes. In the quiet, you build the strength that allows you to move forward with purpose and conviction. Silence also helps you develop patience. In a world that demands instant results, patience is a rare commodity. But silence requires you to slow down, to be present, and to trust that things will unfold in their own time. When you're constantly moving, constantly chasing, constantly pushing, it's easy to forget that some things take time. It's in the quiet moments that you learn to wait, to be patient with yourself and with the process. You learn to trust that everything will come when it's meant to, and that there's no need to rush. In silence, you can also reflect on your goals and priorities. When you're constantly surrounded by noise and distraction, it can be difficult to know what's truly important to you. The external world tells you what you should want, what you should prioritize, and what success should look like. But in the quiet, you can tune out those voices and reconnect with your own desires. You can take a step back and ask yourself, what do I truly want? What are my deepest values? What kind of life do I want to create for myself? When you have clarity about what truly matters, you are better able to make decisions that align with your authentic self. You can move forward with purpose, knowing that the path you're on is the one that's right for you, not the one that's being dictated by outside forces. Silence helps you reconnect with your inner wisdom, which is always there waiting for you to listen. There's also power in working without seeking immediate results or recognition. In the fast-paced world we live in, we are conditioned to expect quick results. We measure success by how fast we can achieve something or how many people are watching, but real lasting success doesn't happen overnight. It's built in the quiet moments, in the steady and consistent work that happens when no one is looking. When you trust in the process and continue to work quietly, you give yourself the space to grow. Without the pressure of external expectations, you can focus on what's truly important to you and make progress at your own pace. You learn that success is not about rushing to the finish line, but about the journey itself. And the journey is often made up of small, quiet steps that lead to big results over time. Silence also allows you to tune into your emotions and your feelings. We often spend so much time being busy that we don't give ourselves the space to process what we're feeling. We don't take the time to check in with ourselves and ask, how am I really doing? What emotions am I carrying right now? Silence gives you the opportunity to reflect on your emotional state, to process difficult feelings, and to heal from past wounds. By allowing yourself to feel your emotions fully, you can release any negative energy and move forward with a lighter, clearer heart. You can cultivate a sense of inner peace that will support you as you face the challenges ahead. Silence helps you develop emotional resilience, allowing you to navigate life's ups and downs with strength and grace. In silence, you also find the space to create. Creativity is often born in the stillness. When there are no distractions, when there is no noise to drown out your thoughts, your mind has the freedom to explore new ideas and solutions. Many of the world's greatest innovators and thinkers spent time in silence, contemplating, reflecting, and allowing their ideas to take shape. Silence creates the mental space needed for breakthroughs to happen. When you embrace silence, you give yourself the freedom to explore your creativity without judgment or pressure. You can allow your ideas to develop at their own pace without the need for immediate validation or approval. And in this space of quiet creativity, you can produce work that is authentic and true to who you are. Silence is not the absence of activity or purpose. It's the foundation for everything that's to come. It's the space where growth begins, where strength is built, and where clarity is gained. By embracing silence, you tap into a well of inner power that will carry you through life's challenges and help you create the life you truly desire. In a world that often glorifies the loudest voices, the flashiest successes, and the fastest achievements, it can be easy to get caught up in the race for recognition. We live in an age where it seems like everything is about immediate visibility, constant updates, and grand gestures. Social media platforms are filled with people showing off their latest accomplishments, their new milestones, and their next big move. And in this environment, it's tempting to think that success is all about the noise. But here's the truth. True success is built not on the noise around you, but on the quiet consistency within you. Consistency is a powerful tool. It's the quiet force that drives progress, the steady rhythm that keeps you moving forward even when there's no applause. Consistency doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to be flashy or attention-grabbing. It just needs to show up. Day after day, step after step, even when no one is watching, consistency builds the foundation for lasting success. In a world that's obsessed with the big moments and the loud accomplishments, consistency is the quiet hero that makes it all possible. We often look at people who are successful and think that they've achieved greatness overnight. We see the big wins, the final product, and we forget to consider the years of consistent work, small actions, and daily commitment that led to that moment. Success is rarely instant. It's the culmination of countless hours, moments, and decisions that may seem insignificant in the moment, but add up over time. Those who are truly successful have mastered the art of consistency. They understand that it's not the dramatic breakthroughs that lead to success. It's the daily dedication to the process. One of the challenges of living in a fast-paced world is that we are constantly bombarded with messages about how quickly things should happen. We live in a culture that celebrates speed, where the faster you achieve something, the more impressive it seems. But while speed might get you attention, it doesn't always get you lasting success. Real sustainable success requires patience, persistence, and a commitment to showing up every single day, even when things aren't happening as quickly as you would like. When we focus too much on the noise, we risk losing sight of the bigger picture. The world around us is constantly changing, and there's always something new to chase after. New trends, new goals, new achievements. But chasing every new thing will only leave you exhausted and directionless. Consistency, on the other hand, provides you with a steady course. It helps you stay focused on what really matters to you, even when the world is trying to pull you in 1,000 different directions. It's easy to get distracted by the noise. We look at other people's success and start to compare ourselves. We see someone else reaching their goals faster than we are, and we begin to wonder if we're doing something wrong. But what we often fail to recognize is that everyone's journey is different. The timeline for success is not the same for everyone. And just because someone else is moving faster doesn't mean that you are not making progress. You are exactly where you need to be. And the key to getting where you want to go isn't rushing. It's staying consistent. Consistency doesn't just mean doing something repeatedly. It means showing up even when it's difficult, even when it feels like you're not making progress, even when no one else seems to care. It's easy to stay motivated when things are going well, when you're getting positive feedback, or when things are moving in the right direction. But what about when it feels like you're not moving at all? What about when you feel like you're stuck, or like all of your efforts are going unnoticed? That's when consistency matters the most. It's in those moments of doubt and frustration that your commitment to showing up day after day will pay off. Because over time, consistency compounds. There is a beauty in doing something consistently, even in the face of adversity. When you continue to put in the work, even when the results aren't immediate, You're building not just your skills, but your character. You're developing resilience, patience, and the ability to persevere through challenges. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, you're strengthening your foundation. You're telling yourself that your goals are worth the effort and that you're willing to stay the course no matter what. One of the most powerful things about consistency is that it doesn't rely on external validation. In a world that often seeks instant approval, it's easy to want immediate recognition for our efforts. We post on social media, we share our progress, we look for likes and comments to tell us that we're on the right track, but consistency teaches you that validation doesn't need to come from others. The real reward comes from knowing that you are doing the work regardless of who's watching. You don't need the approval of the world to keep going. The only approval you need is your own. Consistency also teaches you to trust the process. We live in a world where we want everything now. We want quick results, fast success, and instant gratification. But real growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens through steady, incremental progress. And when you embrace consistency, you learn to trust that every small action you take is moving you closer to your goal. It may not always feel like it, but progress is being made. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You don't see the results immediately, but with consistent care and attention, the seeds eventually grow into something beautiful. But consistency isn't just about doing something every day. It's also about doing it well. There's a difference between showing up and truly giving your best effort. It's easy to get into a routine of just going through the motions, but consistency requires you to be fully present and engaged in the work you're doing. It means putting in the effort, even when no one is watching, and doing it with the intention of improving, learning, and growing. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means commitment. It means doing your best every single day, no matter the circumstance. When you choose consistency over noise, you free yourself from the pressure of comparison. You stop measuring your progress against someone else's. You stop worrying about whether you're doing enough because you know that as long as you keep showing up, you're making progress. You're focused on your own journey, your own path, and you understand that the work you're doing today is building the life you want for tomorrow. In many ways, consistency is an act of self-discipline. It's about making the choice every day to do the work, to stay focused, and to keep moving forward. It's about setting aside the distractions and the noise and staying committed to your purpose. It's not always easy. There will be days when you don't feel like it, when you're tired, or when you want to quit. But consistency is about pushing through those moments and continuing to show up, even when it feels hard. The beauty of consistency is that it doesn't require a grand gesture. You don't have to do something dramatic to prove your dedication. Small, consistent actions over time lead to big results. It's the daily decisions, the habits you form, the choices you make that determine your success. When you commit to the process, when you choose to stay consistent, you're not just working toward a goal, you're creating a lifestyle that supports your vision. Consistency is also a reminder that success doesn't have to be loud. In fact, some of the most impactful things in life happen quietly, behind the scenes. The person who practices their craft every day, the entrepreneur who works tirelessly on their business, the writer who writes every morning, all of these actions, though they may seem small or unremarkable, add up to something powerful. The consistent effort, even in the quiet, produces results that speak for themselves. We often think that success requires us to stand out, to be seen and heard. But success is often built in the quiet moments of consistent work. It's in the behind-the-scenes hustle, the day in and day out effort that you build the life you want. You don't need to announce every step. You don't need to make noise to be successful. You just need to keep showing up, doing the work, and trusting that your efforts will eventually pay off. Consistency over noise means staying focused on what matters to you, not getting distracted by what others are doing, and being patient enough to see your hard work come to fruition. In a world that is always looking for the next big thing, consistency is a quiet rebellion. It's a commitment to doing the work no matter how long it takes or how many people are watching. It's a belief that steady progress, no matter how small, is always worth it. And it's the understanding that in the end, it's the quiet consistency that will get you further than any amount of noise ever could.